paper 3 continued. Cheryl scored 60 marks out of 80 in a test. Express this as a percentage. So she scored 60 out of 80. Now, if I cancel this fraction down as far as possible, I can go to 6 over 8. And if I go a bit further, if I divide by 2, now I get 3/4. And everyone should know that 3/4 is 75%. Share 300 in the ratio 5 to 7. So altogether I have 12 parts from 5 plus 7, which are worth £300. Divide that 300 by 12 and I find out that one part is worth 25 £25. So then 5 parts will be 25 times 5, which is 125. And 7 parts will be 25 times 7, which is 175. Remember to check that these two numbers should add up to the original starting value. 75% of £560 and £62.80. So, two ways of doing this. I can either half this value and then half it again, so I will find 50 and 25% and add them together. I am going to go for dividing this by 4, which will give me initially what 25% is worth, and then I will times it by 3. So 4 goes into 5 one time with 1 left over, 4 goes into 16 4 times with none left over. 4 doesn't go into 2, so we carry the 2 across, make sure we keep the decimal. 4 goes into 28 7 times. So 25% is £140.70. So that's what 25% is worth. And if I want 75%, I need to times this by 3, which gives me £420 and £422 and 10 pence. So £422 10 pence. Question 6. Write down the nth term of the sequence. Look at the repeating pattern to find out what number goes in front of the n. We are going up 4 each time, so the nth term must start with 4n. Then we just take this 4 and work out how I get from 4 to the initial number in the sequence. 4 to 6 will be plus 2, and that is my nth term. Solve the following equation. I am going to collect x's on this side and numbers on that side. So 3x is staying put, and this minus 7x is going to come across to become plus 7x. 8 is staying put, and plus 4 is going to travel over to become minus 4. So I'm left with 10x equals 4. So x equals 4 divided by 10, which can be left exactly as it is, or we can just say that x is 0.4. If you're unsure of fraction to decimal conversion, leave your answer as a fraction. That will be acceptable. Question 7. Explain how you know that 24 is not a square number. 4 times 4 equals 16, and 5 times 5 equals 25. Because of this, there cannot be any number which multiplies by itself to give 24. That needs to be written, but I'm not going to. Express 112 as a product of prime factors in index form. So 112. Two numbers which multiply to make that. 2 and 56. 2 is a prime number, so we'll circle it. 56, 2 and 28. Again, 2 is a prime number, so we'll circle it. 28, 2 and 14. Circle 2. 14, 2 and 7. Both of these are prime numbers. They both get circled. So to make 112, we need 2 to the power of 4 times by 7. Initially, always start dividing by 2. If you can't divide by 2, look to divide by 3 or 5, or then 7. Always use prime numbers to divide. A fifth divided by a third. You need to know that the method for dividing fractions is to flip the second fraction over and multiply. So we turn the divide into a multiply, and the second fraction turns upside down to become 3 over 1. And then we just multiply the top together and multiply the bottom together to give us the fraction 3/5. Part D. If you have mixed numbers and you're trying to multiply, turn them into improper fractions at first. So we do 2 times 3, which makes 6, and add the 1 on for 7/3. Times by, do the same here. 3 times 7 is 21, plus the 3 on makes 24. So 24/7. Then when we multiply the tops together and we multiply the bottoms together. So 3 7s are 21 and 7 24s are 168. And then you need to see whether you can divide, and 168 divided by 21 is 8. As the question states, simplify your answer. It is vital that you go to the final answer and you cannot leave it as a fraction. The length of a tabletop is 20 2050 millimeters measures the nearest 10 millimeters. As soon as you see something measured to anything along that, you need to think bounds of measurements. So the least value will be 2045 and the greatest value 2055. We're going to half the 10 and we're going to add it on and subtract it to get the least and greatest value. Part B, the width of the tabletop is 1040 measured to the nearest 10. Again, as soon as we see measured, we need to be thinking that that actually means the tabletop could be up to 1045, but it could have come as small as 1035. Find the least possible perimeter of the shape tabletop. So the least possible perimeter for the shape means that both of the widths are as small as possible, 1035, and both of the lengths are also at 2045. And then to find the perimeter, we just add these four sides together. So we have 1035, 2045, 1035, 2045, added together, 3, 7, 14, 15, 16, carry the 1, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. So the least perimeter is 6,160 centimetres. Question number 9, factorise. As soon as you see anything with an x, greater than x and a number, factorising, we need to be thinking what do they add to and what do they multiply. They need to multiply to make the number on the end, which is -8, and they need to add to make the number in the middle, which is -2. 4 and 2 are the numbers that we need. To multiply and make a negative number, one of these must be negative. If after adding we are still going to be negative, the 4 will have to be the minus part. Because there is no number in front of the x squared, we can go straight to our 2 brackets. X has to be in the beginning, and then we just simply put the -4 and the +2 in each of the brackets. Part B, expand and simplify. 2 double brackets together means we're going to use FOIL. First terms, which is 2x squared. Outside terms, which will be -10x. Inside terms, plus x. And last terms will be -5. Tidy up the 2x terms so we get 2x squared minus 9x minus 5. Solve the following equation. As soon as you see fractions in equations, you need to try and get rid of them by taking them to the other side and multiplying. So this 5 down here is going to go over there and multiply. Common mistake here is that people don't multiply the 5 by all parts of the right hand side. So we get 21 minus 2x equals 5 times 4, which is 20 minus 5x. Collect the x's on one side and collect the numbers on one side. Take the x's to this side and the numbers to that side. So we're going to have minus 2x plus 5x equals 20 minus 21. 3x equals minus 1. To get rid of the 3, divide, so we get minus a third. There is nothing wrong with having a fraction as an answer to an equation, and there's also nothing wrong with having a negative fraction. Simplifying indices. Multiply the numbers together to give 24. If we have x's in both, we add the powers, which gives us x to the power of 10, and we do the same with the y's, giving us y to the power of 7. If we are multiplying, we add powers, so this gives a 5 plus -2, which actually means 5 minus 2, so that will be a cubed. Question 10, cumulative frequency. To complete the following table, so how many people had a heart rate less than 80? None. How many had it less than 90? Well, these 4 here did. How many had it less than 100? All 14 of those did, but these 4 also did, which is where 18 comes from. How many had it less than 110? These 22 did, these 14 did, and those 4 did. So we're going to add all those on to give us 40. How many were less than 120? Those 10, and again, these all were, so we're adding the 10 onto the 40. How many had it less than 130? Well, all of these again, plus those 6, which gives us 56. And then less than 140, well, these did, plus all of them originally, which is 60, and they asked 60 people, so our final cumulative frequency will be 60. To plot the graph, we are going to plot 80 against 0. We're then going to plot 90 against 4, 100 against 18, 110 against 40, 120 against 50, 130 against 56, and 140 against 60. And we are going to join these up one at a time using straight lines. can also join them up using a smooth curve, but straight lines are easier and still get you the whole marks. Okay, part C. Find the median and the interquartile range from your cumulative frequency diagram. Now, in order to find the median from a cumulative frequency diagram, we are going to look halfway through our list of data. So, halfway through, if 60 people were asked, the median will be at the value 30. We are going to draw a line across until it hits the line we have drawn. We are going to come down from the graph and we are going to read off the value at that point. So the median was 105. To do what's called the interquartile range, we look at 3/4 of the way up the data. So out of 60, that will be 45. And we look at 1/4 of the way up, which will be 15. And then we take the value at 3/4 of the way up, which is 115. And we subtract from it the value 1/4 of the way through the data, which is 98, and we find that the interquartile range is 17.